What's up YouTube, Zero here, and welcome to the place where gamers, witches, wizards, and superheroes unite. Today, I'm going to be doing a quick comparison video between the AK47 and the Krig 6 in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Call of Duty content. I do a bunch of other video games, so check those out as well. Thank you so much in advance. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the statistical differences of these two guns, at least the major statistical differences. The AK is going to be dealing more damage. It deals 3 more damage per shot to enemies and to vehicles. However, the Krig does have a longer range. It has a 50.8 meter range compared to the AK at 38.1. It also has, the Krig anyway, has a faster fire rate and faster bullet velocity. The fire rate on the Krig is 652 RPM, and the bullet velocity is 625 meters per second, where on the AK it's 600 RPM and 490 meters per second. So that's a pretty significant difference. When we go down to the speed, there's only one major difference, and that's the shooting move speed, where the Krig is slightly faster at 9.18 miles per hour to the AK that's at 8.92. The accuracy, if you've used these two guns, you already know the Krig is easier to handle. It has less recoil. So that's just something to note. If you prefer a gun with greater recoil control, you're going to want the Krig. Now in the ammo category, only one major difference. The reload quickness is slightly faster on the Krig at 2.4 seconds to the AK where it's 2.6 seconds. So not a huge difference. Now let's talk about the major differences when it comes to the attachments of these two guns. In the muzzle category, we do have one difference. The AK gets a GRU suppressor, which only minuses 25% effective range, where the equivalent on the Krig, the agency suppressor, actually subtracts 33% effective range. So that's one difference. If you use the equivalent on both of these guns, you're getting a bigger range decrease on the Krig. Now, in the barrel category, we have two major differences, and this is going to be the last of the differences for the attachments comparison of these two guns. So on the AK, we get an 18.2 reinforced, where the Krig we get a 15.5 contour. The contour only does two things. You get plus 10% strafe speed while subtracting 25% bullet velocity. Where on the AK, we get 100% range increase, 40% bullet velocity increase, while subtracting 4% to that sprint move speed and minus 20% aim walking speed. The second barrel equivalent on the AK, we have a 20 Spetsnaz RPK, which gives us plus 11% damage, 50% effective range, and plus 50% bullet velocity, while subtracting 33% max starting ammo, 20% vertical recoil, and 15% horizontal recoil. So you're adding recoil to the gun. Where on the equivalent of the Krig, the 15 CMU mil spec, we get plus 6 damage, plus 8% strafe speed, and minus 33% starting ammo, and minus 40% to range. So if any of those stood out to you, you may want to choose one or the other gun. We already saw on the screens the iron sights. That's really a matter of preference. So now let's get into the subjective part of the view so I can talk about these iron sights and which gun I prefer and why. So the iron sights, I prefer the AK. It's a lot nicer. It leaves a lot more of the screen. The Krig takes up a lot of the screen. I just don't like the bulkiness of it. So in the iron sight category, I'm going with the AK. Another plus of that, of liking the iron sight, is that you don't necessarily have to equip a red dot sight to compensate for that. Where on the Krig, I kind of do. Now, these two guns have different playstyles, and depending on your playstyle, may be the gun for you. The AK is going to be a little bit closer range, in between that submachine gun and assault rifle gameplay, where the Krig is going to be that slower paced, further back assault rifle that you want to use. So maybe when you're in game modes such as Hardpoint, the faster paced game mode, or some of the smaller maps such as Nuketown, you may want the AK. However, if you're on some of the bigger maps or you're a slower paced player, you may want the Krig. So me personally, If I'm forced to choose one of these guns, I'm choosing the Krig. I prefer it. I think it's a better gun and it suits my playstyle. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace.